Hi, this is Jonathan. I'm coming to you with my son Eli, and we actually have a new kayak that we're wanting to put the Bixpy on, and obviously it's got to be FeelFree kayaks. So we have the FeelFree Moken 10 Lite V2, and it's in this ocean camo. And basically what we're going to be doing is demonstrating the entire process of running the Bixpy rudder lines. We're going to use their foot steering, and then we're going to be using the Vibe Gravity Rudder along with the J-2 motor and the PP378 battery. So let's just kind of give you an overview of the different items that we're going to need for this setup. So I'm going to pass them off to Eli, and he's going to set them down over there, but I'll just kind of show you what all we're going to need. So first, Bixpy sells the kit that includes, the rudder tubing. So this is going to have some plastic tubing, and for this kayak, it's actually relatively short, so we might even be able to get away with using just one set instead of both. All right, next we're going to use, and I've already tied the Kevlar string off to this, but you would normally get, of course, your packs of rudder lines. Those are just extra that I had. These are already tied. So this is going to be your adjustable rudder, or not adjustable rudder, adjustable footrest. And you're going to put your foot up against it, and then they slide once they're mounted inside the kayak. So we'll have two of those. There you go. Here's the other one. And then along with the rudder tubing, you've got these little black pieces that help, keep, after you drill the holes into the kayak, it helps keep that tubing, pushed into that hole. And normally I like to use silicone around that. We may not do that this time. I just want to see how well it'll stick inside of it. But just know you do have these little black pieces. I'll show them right there that, go on the end. So we will need a screwdriver. We will also need either a torch, or in my case, I'm also going to be using a heat gun. That seems to work well when it comes to softening plastic and everything. So next thing, we're obviously going to need to be able to drill into the kayak. You're going to be using a 1/4-inch drill bit, and that's to drill in the back of the kayak to insert the tube, and then you're also going to need that in the front. There you go. You can set that stuff off over there. I've got just a pair of pliers or snips to cut things. And two of the items we don't necessarily need just yet is the Vibe rudder itself and the J-2 motor. So once all of those are moved off, we're going to go through each step of the process to go through this entire setup. So stick with us, and let's get into it. All right, now to start the process, we're going to take our 1/4-inch drill bit, and what I've done in the past, I've kind of made a pilot hole with a smaller bit, but this case, I'm going to go ahead and just take it. I'm going to have it the same angle that the already done kind of areas here where your rudder lines are going to come out. And let's see, we're going to kind of center that there. We're going to start slow and then go right through. Good clean hole, don't have to worry about. Try not to make it any bigger than that. Like I said, we're supposed to be using a 1/4-inch drill bit, and that's, in this case, all you're going to need. So while I'm drilling this second hole, I'm going to get Eli to unravel the tubing so I can kind of demonstrate how that goes in there. So he's going to do that off camera while I go ahead and drill this other hole. Like I said, push up against it, start slow, make sure it's centered, and then go through. All right, now we have both holes through there. I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to bring you along with me and show you where we're going to come out kind of in that cockpit area. All right, now that we are towards the cockpit of the kayak, you can see that we have a small rudder line here where that tubing is going to come out. and the lines are going to come along here and attach to the pedals once we put those on. So, same here as we did in the back. Center it right there. You're going to start kind of slow, push up against it. Same 1/4 inch drill bit. Make a small hole there, and we're going to hit that same way on this other side. All right, now we have both of those done. So now comes the tricky part, and I have found really a great way of doing this. One thing that I did not mention to, here, let me go ahead and get the camera. So when it comes to running rudder tubing, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to get, of course, this kayak has a hatch, but most kayaks that you're going to deal with probably won't have a hatch. But then you also need a way to figure out, how you're going to run that tubing all the way to the back and all the way through the front. And the best way I've figured out is to take the rod holders out, especially on this model. We're going to take the rod holders out. We're going to use a straightened metal clothes hanger, run that through there, connect it to the tubing, and then we can pull it the rest of the way. And I'll definitely show you that in just a few minutes. All right, now that we have all of our holes drilled in the kayak, I'm going to come up here and take out these screws so that we can get this rod holder out. All right, and you don't have to worry about taking the rubber gasket out of here because, we have more than enough room. All right, so Eli's going to now start fishing this tubing from the back. Let's get it all straightened out here. There we go. And he's going to insert it there and just push it through. And then I'm going to take the metal hanger and I'm going to kind of wait until I see it here. And it's not a hard process. It just takes a little bit of, yep, I can see it. Just takes a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it. See, this is what I did. On one end of the hanger, I go ahead and make like a little hook. And then the other end is the end that's just straight that I'm going to insert into the tubing over here. And that's going to make it easier for us, to run all this back through there. All right, Eli, keep running through. Here, hand me my phone over there. I'm going to get a light to make it a little easier to see inside the kayak. So, all right, I can see it. All right, so here's the tubing. Now that we have it through here, leave that through there. And what I'm gonna do is come back up here to the front of the kayak, and I'm gonna insert this clothes hanger all the way back to the back here. And the only reason I let this come out is so that I can have the hanger show up back here, and then I'll just be able to connect it from here. It's a simple process, like I said before, but it just takes a little bit of, wiggling and fine tuning to get everything connected. Now that we have both the tubing and the end of the clothes hanger here, we're just going to push this on. Because we're going to pull this back through all the way to the cockpit of the kayak. All right, I'm going to keep that in there. And I'm going to bring you back up. Move the camera so you can see what I'm talking about here. All right, and I'm slowly moving this up. And as you can see, just like that, we've pulled the tubing all the way from the back of the kayak all the way to the front. And we're going to do that to both sides. Now after the tubing's in, after both sides are done, what we're going to do is put these rod holders back in because we're not going to need to have them out anymore. But that's the reason for removing the rod holders. It makes it a lot easier. You know, you're trying to get to a center point where you can meet up your tubing for your rudder lines and the clothes hanger or something else that's, you know, that's similar, that allows you to get access to both ends and, you know, pull it back through. So as I said before, we're going to do this to both sides, and then we'll start the process of getting the tubing squared away and, you know, cut the right lengths and get the lines run. All of our rudder lines have been run. Now we need to go through the process of getting these little black pieces to the end of the tubing here. So I'm going to get Eli to hold both of those for me. And I've used a torch before, but today I'm going to try using the heat gun. You know, it's got two settings, high and low. I'll probably try it on high and just get it soft enough to push those on the end. That actually worked out really well. So we're going to do the same thing with the other side. We're going to let those harden up some. Well, that one's already hard. It doesn't take long for them to. And afterwards, what we're going to do now is I'm going to get Eli to go to the back. He's going to pull that out. And as he pulls the tubing back out that way, I'm going to go ahead and get a mallet. Another thing I didn't mention, you'll need a mallet or something of that, you know, a mallet or the screwdriver that we have, and just push these into the slots here for your foot steering. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay. All right, hold on. All right, now that is not going anywhere. We're going to do that to both sides. Eli's going to go ahead and do that to the other side as well. Get both of those done, and we'll move to the stern of the kayak, and I'll show you the back part back there when we do those. So, another thing I didn't mention, a pair of forceps or something like that would actually work out great back here, because you need to be able to crimp this down so that it doesn't go back on you. So I'm going to pull that fairly tight. Go ahead and crimp that right there so it doesn't go anywhere. And then Eli, can you hand me the pair of pliers or cutters right there? Yes, thank you. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut enough of that off. Move that out the way. And Eli, go ahead and hand me those two black pieces again. Okay. All right, so we're also going to do the same back here. I'm going to take the heat gun, get this soft and pliable again, and then I'm going to put this back on it and let it harden up, and then we'll use the screwdriver and a mallet or hammer and then push that back so that, you know, it stays in there. So just make sure this stays here, otherwise you're going to lose your tubing and you're probably going to have to rerun it, and that's if you're able to, you know, get that back through there. You could probably use the same process, but just be careful. All right, that is pushed on. I'm going to let that harden up before I try to do the other side because I only have one of these. So I will undo that, let that plastic kind of go back to its shape there. I'll help it out some if I can unlock these. Now, there we go. There we go. All right, that's hardening up. All right. I'm going to do the same thing to this other side. Pull that through there. Now while that side is hardening, we'll come back here, get our Phillips head screwdriver, take a mallet or hammer, and we're going to push that back into the kayak. That's solid. That one's hardening up. I can undo that. I'm just going to take these, kind of make that back into a little circle there. All right. Be sure that's hardening up before you try and do anything with it. The rest of the process is extremely simple. You're running your Kevlar line through this from the front to the back, and then we're taking the stock pedals or the stock footrest off of the kayak, and then we're going to be putting on here. Eli, bring that over here to me. Yep. And we will be putting this on. It's got adjustable footrests, and then it slides. Once I take this string off, you can see that it slides front and back. And let's see, let me just go ahead and do that real quick. You can see it's got two mounting places, and it fits your stock areas on your kayak. And after that's bolted on, this slides on too, and then it's going to sit there, and that's actually how you steer. So we'll be back once we get all of this set up and show you that process. I'm going to find my screwdriver. Here it is. And I'm going to go through the process of taking off both of these existing foot pedals that we have here. And then we are going to put the Bixpy ones on. So I've already got the string on it, but as you can see, there's 3 areas to mount this, but this has 2 holes that we're going to use. We'll try using the existing screws. If they're too long, I have some other ones that we'll use. Try not to tighten too tight. These are brass inserts, and you can, strip it all out. Just make it snug enough that it's not going to, come off or move or anything. Alrighty, I made a mistake. We need to have these slides on here before we finish screwing everything in, because the curve in this kayak prevents us from sliding that on afterwards. So just make a note of that. I've had that happen with other kayaks. Not everyone is that way. Some of the ones that I've installed this footrest on, you can install the slide or the mount on afterwards. But in this case, there's not enough room to do that. So that's how that's going to function. Let's get to the other side. All right, one of the ways I like running the Kevlar line, it's a little more, it frays a lot easier, and it's not like paracord or anything like that that'll melt, and you can, do several different things with it. This, it's strong, but it frays. So what I do is I've just got a piece of rudder cable, stainless steel rudder cable, and I fish that from the back all the way up to the front. And then what I'm going to do is take a piece of tape and make sure those are taped to each other, and I'm going to pull it back all the way to the back. I'm going to come all the way to the back and start pulling it back through. Of course, sometimes I use too much tape, so I need to cut some of it off. Just be aware that can happen. But now that we've trimmed that down, we'll probably have better luck. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to come back here to the back and start pulling that through. And we are back. And then from here, I just pull that off. And we're going to take this same one, and I'm going to move it over to this side. All right, so Eli's going to start the process of pulling the stainless steel rudder line back. And then what I'm going to do is just guide it in with some of this tape. And then once that gets through there, All right, I'm gonna move back to the back. We're gonna slowly pull this through here. And as we come back, there we go. There's our rudder line. All right, go ahead and get that undone for me up there. All right, then we can pull it the rest of the way back. All right, so then from here, we're gonna attach the gravity rudder to the back of here. Let me go ahead and take this pin out. All right, so that goes just like that. We're gonna come back, this goes underneath here. That slides back on, and that's locked in place. And all we're gonna do here is run the lines through there. There's little holes in the back of this rudder. You can see them right there. We're gonna run them through the top and bring them back around, and then just tighten them so that the rudder is centered with the footrest at the front of the kayak. So once we do that, that's it. We mount the Bixpy to the bottom and head out to the water. All right, so what I've done is at the top where the footrests are, I've got those clamped so that these aren't gonna move, like shift side to side. So I've already tied one side up, and I put the rudder directly in the middle of the kayak. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tie this side as well. So first, I started by wrapping it around the rudder, because what I wanna do is have some excess here in case anything happens and I have to undo some of this to go through the process of, you know, changing it up, or, you know, whatever. Anything could happen. So instead of having to run brand new rudder lines, all I have to do is untie this and, you know, go through the process of fixing whatever it is that I need to fix. And everyone has their own method of mounting this rudder as far as tying the string back here, but I'm just doing some simple knots, you know, some things that may not come out. Now that we have the gravity rudder attached, everything is ready for the Bixpy. So this process everyone's probably used to. We're just gonna slide that on. And let's see here. We've got 4 bolts that are included in every kit. And then you get these little nuts that go on the back of it. So I'm just going to tighten that down with my fingers before I do anything else. Now, after you have all of them on there, you're going to come back. You can either use an adjustable wrench on one side and then a Phillips head screwdriver on the other. And you're going to go through the process of tightening all of these down. And that's it. We'll run the power cable back up into the tank well, or wherever you're going to have your battery, and go from there. All right, I have Eli here with me. We've just gone through the entire process of setting the Moken up with the Bixpy Foot Steering, their rudder lines, and we've got the Bixpy J-2 on the back with the gravity rudder. We're also using the Bixpy tubing that they sell and all the products that they have on their website. So Eli here is going to demonstrate. Now that we've gotten everything set up, you can see how smooth it is when he go ahead and put both feet on. All right. Yep, just takes some getting used to, doesn't it? Yep, and then if I come to the back, you can keep doing that for me and demonstrating some of that. And you can see we get good rotation out of it. And once we put this in the water and take this pull line, you know, it's undone, you're definitely going to get more play in that. And you're going to be able to go all the way to the right, all the way to the left. So we just want to thank you for watching. I hope you learned something today. And, you know, if you have any questions, comments, you know, need help with anything, feel free to reach out, you know, leave a comment, and we'll get back with you. All right, thanks again.